Hey y'all, it's racing day, so loud out here I can't hear a thing. Man, the fans are going wild. And these drivers came to rock, and no place else but Fox knows how to do it NASCAR style.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Hey now, here we go, race day. Don't you be going slow. Keep that pedal down on the floor. Push it till the crowd can't take no more. Then hey, since the flag came down, be here till the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways. Hey, since the flag came down, be here till the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the high banks of Lincoln, Alabama for race number 16 of the LIMECAR SimRacing Challenge, season number 3, taking us to Talladega Supserspeedway for the errand. 499 here for 47 laps around this 2.66 mile late track. I'm here with DAF Racing team owner Dominic Anthony in the booth once again. Dominic, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and it should be a good race.
Absolutely. Well, we've got 3 races to go here in our season, 42 cars, but this title fight has really come down to, I'd say, 5 or 6 people right now. And we got one guy on the pole who's looking to punch his way into that title fight, Robbie Gordoff. Dominic, this is going to be a really intense sort of last 3 races, especially with how tight these point standings are so far.
Yeah, we've really got it down to like the top 5 here. The top 5 are the ones that are within a race of the points lead. So that's Logan Williams, Michael Guthrie, Christopher Marnell, Henry Guo, and Santiago Nicolas. Obviously, there are guys close to that threshold that could work their way in depending on how these next 3 races go. But right now, we're looking at the top 5.
Absolutely. As you see, yet another Crisis Racing team pole. They've won poles in over half of the races, but only 1 win on the season. We'll see if they're able to get the second one here today. Dominic, how about we go over these race notes pretty quickly here?
Yeah, we got 47 laps around a 2.66 mile plate track. This is the last superspeedway of the season. Daytona it was kind of like a short, narrow track, whereas Armory Digital is super wide. This is kind of a mix between the two, kind of a middle ground. So it should be like an average mix of what we saw at those 2 races. And the fuel window is 20 to 24 laps, so it should be a one-stop race.
Absolutely. And one thing to make note, teammate help is going to be critical here. Pace car rolls off. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Row number 1, Robbie Gordoff, his 3rd pole of the season alongside Jordan Madrick, his 1st front row start. Ricardo Garcia, Christian Visconti make up row number 2. Row 3 sees Austin Green and last week's winner, Eric Yuko. Henry Guo, Christopher Marnell, 2 of our title contenders, make up row 4. Row 5 sees Aaron Giffen and Zachary Pons. Sitting in the 6th row sees Tyler Cook, the dual winner at Daytona and Strokey Banger. Garrett Lamar and Nicholas Soa make up row 7. Row 8 sees Richard Fridge, our Armory Digital winner, and Chase Gibbons. Anthony Foss, Kyle Mabey make up row number 9. And then the last Talladega race winner in Season 2, Ian McDaniel and Grayson Collins in row 10. Logan Williams, Kaz Gralla, see out row number 11. Row 12 sees the 88 of Blake Walker hoping to reclaim the magic of the Pied Piper and Hunter Collier. Michael Guthrie, Joe Kraus see up row number 13. Row 14, Quentin Haley and Santiago Nicolas. The Golden Horseshoe is sitting in row 15 of Justin Haley and Cam Arrow alongside him. Row 16, Alexander Rowe and Ryan Barone. Jerry Chen, Matthew Fastnot in row number 17. Row 18, 2 teammates, Chris Lilly and Reed Simpson. Norris Cole, Cam Wright Jr. make up row number 19. Row 20 sees Ethan Harrison in the 77 and Destorius Reynos Jr. after a vicious wreck last week in row 20. And Braden Sigafoe's Nathan Stapleton in row 21. 47 laps, 2.66 mile track. Any final words before we get set to go racing here, Dominic?
Yeah, so with this being a super speedway, I feel like the big crashes are kind of inevitable at some point. And this will be the first time that we've seen single file restarts at a super speedway this season. So it might take a while for the runs to generate on the restarts.
Absolutely. And off and away. Green flag is in the air. We're racing here. Cars already going 3 wide. That's Eris Yuko going to the outside of Christian Visconti, making an aggressive move early on here into turn 1.
And we have a lot of our potential title contenders up front here. Obviously, 6th place, Robbie Gordoff won the pole. Then we got Guo and Marnell right next to each other back there in the top 5.
That's the 48 of Ricardo Garcia there with... Oh, Jordan Badger, their contact! Upside down goes the 48 as he rolls down the back straightaway into turn 3. And already on lap 1, we've got a wreck.
Right at the front of the field there, too, so that's going to collect a lot of cars. It already has. Looked like it started with the 48 Ricardo Garcia just coming up on Jordan Madron there. We'll have to see a replay to make sure, though.
Already trouble early, and none other than Ricardo Garcia who gets involved in that one as Gordoff leads the field back to the yellow. Let's take a look at this replay. Let's see really what happened. I believe they just came together.
Yeah, I'd like to see it start a little bit earlier than that, but it does look like the 48 came up. I'm not sure if he was hooked or if that was voluntary.
It looked like the 80 of Visconti, the 68 of Madron got some damage. Here's another look at it. Side angle. We'll see Visconti just hitting a very good friend of his, Jordan Madron. Someone hits Madron and spins him like the top. I believe that was the 29.
Yeah, our LIMECAR drivers aren't known for their ability to hit the brakes in crashes, that's for sure.
So that view from Marnell, it seems like they just came together. Madron must have drifted down. And not many guys really got involved in that, Dominic, I'd say. I mean, we have the 27 of Fridge. He's going to come down pit road. The 29, the 16, the 43. But other than that, most of the field came out unscathed.
Yeah, for as far up as that was, starting right up at 3rd or 4th place, they really did a good job avoiding that. Points leader Logan Williams came really close to getting involved, missed a car by just a couple inches. But yeah, it looks like only a handful coming down pit road here.
Heavy nose damage for that 80 of Christian Visconti, who had a very good qualifying run. Same with Jordan Madron. And that 48 of Garcia, they got it fixed up, and they're going to be a few laps down, but they're still going. So we saw with Jerry Chen at Armory Digital, these guys are able to take a roll and still keep going.
Yeah, it's definitely the frontal impacts that'll do you in more than the rollovers. So good to see him still chugging along. Hopefully the rest of the race goes better than the start for him.
Green flag is back out. We're underway. Lap 6 of 47. Gordoff is going to see the field into turn number 1 as Henry Guo is going to make an aggressive move, almost tried to go top to bottom on Garcia there, and that's going to bring in another championship contender, Christopher Marnell. Here, as the points run so far, granted it's only lap 6, Marnell would be our points leader, Guo would be 2nd, Logan Williams in 3rd, although Williams is back there in about 20th, 24th. That'll shake out throughout the rest of the day. We'll see how it really turns out. Not really worried about points so far. It's Talladega. As Gordoff leads them through 3 and 4.
Yeah, the points conversation will definitely be something that we take more seriously after today rather than before today, because it could look completely different in 41 laps.
I mean, it looks completely different from the start of that lap to the end of this lap. Marnell's already dropped a few spots as it takes them a little bit to get these runs going, but now we've got 2 through wide through the field. Strokey Banger, one of our dual winners in the 84, he's now leading this field, and his teammate, Santiago Nicolas, is a few rows back on that outside lane. He won the Daytona 500. That's a very aggressive driver in Garrett Lamar, pushing that inside lane and now leading that inside lane. That 13 car hasn't had the best of seasons so far, but here comes Garrett Lamar to the lead.
Yeah, and Garrett almost won at our last plate track at Armory Digital. Got passed by Richard Fridge in the final lap. So he's emerged as a pretty strong plate racer, looking for redemption here at Talladega.
Someone who won 3 races all at road courses in season number 2. Wouldn't expect him to become a plate merchant, but aside from the Roval, to which even then I'd say only half of that race was good for him, he hasn't really shown speed at the tracks that he's been good at. The extended time off as well as the additional parity of the field has definitely caught up to that 13K.
Yeah, there's definitely more of a reset between season 2 and season 3 than there was in the previous seasons in terms of like performance and who's good where. Like I know for us at DAF Racing, we used to be really strong in the qualifying at super speedways. We used to put a car on the front row basically every time, and now we haven't been seeing that this season. So definitely a change in which teams are strong where. But Garrett's had a few good runs, but I'm sure he's looking for better.
Ian McDaniel, the last Talladega winner, sitting in the top 5. Another driver, a championship contender. I believe he finished second in points last year, actually. Had that miraculous end-of-season run. He's now sitting in 5th as of we speak on the track, but just hasn't had the run this season. As we look at this second little group so far, caution comes out, and we got a spin in 3, and there's Garrett Lamar in the 13 getting spun. That's really unfortunate. Commentator's curse.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were just talking about him. So this looks to be another crash towards the front of the field because he was right up there before this. So it'll be interesting to see who else got caught up in this.
Absolutely, and that's Austin Green with a bit of damage. Matthew Fastnaught's going to lead them back to the yellow here on lap 10. 2 cautions in the first 10 laps. It's shaping up to be one of those races. We had a big wreck race last week at Kansas. Let's take a look and see what happened here.
Yeah, it's about the third row back there, and again, they just kind of come together and run each other out of room. Sort of similar to what happened on lap 1, not the exact same, but the same gist, as those guys right there are lucky to avoid that.
Go on board with Garrett Lamar here. I caught at the end someone kind of no-braked that incident. The 13 seemed pretty fine, just a little bit of side damage. He's going to come down the track, and he just gets ran over by, I believe, the 21 of Anthony Foss.
Yeah, he was definitely in there. It looked like the 48 of Ricardo Garcia was on the apron there with some contact as well.
That's the 0 of Alexander Rowe as well. So this opens our pit window, so to say. These guys, looks like about half the field, half and half, coming down pit road. Quite an odd strategy. You can't make it to the end if you pit here, so I'm going to be interested to see how this shakes out for these guys that was Joe Kraus, who was in second. He's coming down pit road, as well as a bunch of others.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd call to pit this early, but one thing I will say is that it's very easy to pass here. It's definitely a position race like it is at some other tracks, so pitting early isn't going to completely kill you. I just think it's odd to do it at a point where you're going to have to pit again.
Officially counted in the wreck, that was Hunter Collier, Garrett Lamar, Nicholas Soa, Anthony Foss, Austin Green, and Alexander Rowe. The 60 of Collier went a lap down to alleviate his, so to say, I guess, his damages, but everybody else on the lead lap. And we saw that earlier pack, that small pack of guys that were involved in that first incident, as the green flag is going to come back out here on lap 14. Matthew Fastnaught's going to lead him to the green. We'll see how that happens, if that happens once again with another secondary pack, as Quentin Haley immediately jumps to the outside with teammate Kaz Gralla. Teammate play at work, the 03, not able to get the back bumper of the 31. They're going to slide back.
Yeah, and I know not all of them are on the lead lap, obviously, with the 48, but we got 3 Mudfish Motorsports cars up here, so they're looking strong early in terms of teammates.
I mean, the 83 of Santiago Nicolas is tucked up right on that back bumper of the 48. He dropped down immediately to get to him. Great teammate work at play, as the 31 of Quentin Haley is left out to dust as the 03 follows the 23 corporate teammates in the Chevrolets, as they're all following suit of Matthew Fastnaught in the 04. Gralla peels out, and I was about to mention 2 DAF Racing teammates are up front now. The 17 and 37, they were tucked up together, and now it looks like the 17 is going to follow that 37 into the gap. So now Chen and Williams, they're going to be helping each other out. I believe Logan Williams dodging and weaving. Not sure what Logan's doing. Trying to find some clean air.
Yeah, and Jerry started pretty deep in the field. He was only 3 rows away from the back of the grid. So another strong performance for him to come through the field after a bad qualifying. But as I was saying, track position isn't exactly a premium here. So those guys who pit early aren't going to be completely killed.
Absolutely not. And it's not about where you are on lap 15 or lap 27. I suppose it is if there's a wreck, but it's all about where you are on that final lap or with 2 laps to go. And I don't know if you could write anything as poetic as this. First and second in points. We're now first and second on track. Logan Williams to that back bumper, the 23. They're 1-2 on track, 1-2 in points.
Yeah, and if we had to pick anywhere where we'd see the two best guys all season, 1-2 in a race, I'm not sure that Talladega would be that track they would pick, but we're seeing it here anyway, as Jerry Chen's going to go to second here.
Yeah, the line of Chevys is now the Chevy line goes from the bottom to the top to try to pick up Logan. Awfully aggressive moves here throughout the field. 4 wide up front, now 3 wide. Robbie Gordoff has made his way back to that top 5. As Chen is really tucked in behind that 23, and Quentin Haley isn't making as many moves as these guys. I think he's just following suit to try to stay in their draft.
Yeah, and I have to say that in terms of lane changes and stuff, this is a really racy and aggressive race. I feel like we're seeing a lot more movement in the pack than we saw at Daytona and Armory Digital.
Armory Digital, we saw a lot more. Oh, Brayson Collins. He's off and into the grass. Looks like he's got an issue of some flavor. We'll keep an eye on that. As Jerry Chen was making a move to the lead through turn 3. As there he goes with help from Cam Wright. Armory Digital, we saw a lot of lifting as we were talking about it throughout the majority of the race. But here, you're lifting to generate the runs. But again, very, very racy so far. And a lot of guys are able to race their way through the field here. And yeah, I mean, this has been awfully entertaining from the jump.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see if the 5 of Brayson Collins can get back around to pit road, because he was going pretty slow there, so we could see another yellow here if he doesn't make it back around.
He's crawling on the access road right now, getting towards pit road as we're 3x3 through the entire field of this front little pack. It looks like it's to be about, I'd say 28th, 29th, 29 cars right here. All 3x3. This is about the most uniform they've looked all day. Don't expect it to last this long, as Gordoff has retained the lead so far, has led the most laps today. Not like that matters much, but the 33 out front from the pole.
Yeah, that 33 is definitely strong and clean air between winning the pole and leading all these laps. It'll be interesting to see how strong it is when he really gets back in traffic deep in the pack.
That 3 Fords all in a line right there. It's the Bones Motorsport 60 and 6. They're pushing each other to that middle lane, abandoning the help of the 53, the Squares Greenhouse shoes. We got 4 wide here through turn 4. They're able to not squeeze each other, which is great to see. The 53 had a vicious wreck last week, was cleared to go on Wednesday, and he was a little apprehensive, but it's great to see Desquarius Greenhouse Jr. not only back on the track, but he's sitting in second place right now. Really fast car. That's the 54 Yuko bouncing off the side of the 84. Oh, into the wall.
Yeah, and that was only going to end one way, and this is going to take out a couple cars here. That reminded me a lot of what we saw at Armory Digital with the 3 and the 37 coming together, where I don't know what Yuko was doing there, but he was really, really pinching Strucky Banger, and that was only going to end one way.
Yellow comes out on lap 20, Robbie Gordoff, unless the 53 gets a massive run, which these guys have done a pretty good job. When the yellow comes out, they kind of just lift and coast back to the line, even with us racing back to the yellow. Gordoff's going to retain the lead on lap 21 of 47. Dominic, let's take a look at see this replay, but I believe what you just said is actually 100% accurate. The 54, we were watching him through that 4 wide little thing. Had a little bit of a wiggle there that sent him down to the 84, and I don't know why he was squeezing him there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lane, if not 2 lanes above him, and he's just hanging on the 84's door right there, so I'm not sure what that was about, but obviously some innocent bystanders getting caught up in that to varying degrees of severity, but yeah, that's an odd one.
We'll go on board with Marnell. We've had 3 yellows, and I'd say this is the second one that he just barely misses.
Michael Guthrie right behind him, and I want to say Logan Williams and Henry Guo both had near misses there as well, so our top 5 in points really cutting it close, giving their crew chiefs a heart attack.
Absolutely. I was going to say, without seeing another replay, that Braden Sigafos in the 10 was the one who gave the 54 a shove. It appeared there was...
so as well.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit of gap between them. Must have been an arrow shove.
And he was definitely the next car in line. I'm not sure if there was contact or not, but he was definitely the next car in line. But yeah, on some of those replays, it looked like the 54 just swerved on the straightaway for no reason. So yeah, not sure what all that was about.
So we'll see the entire field come down pit road here. And maybe it's a note for some of these guys to not be as aggressive. I'm not sure. We've got some people taking fuel only, some people taking 2 tires. But yeah, lots of near misses through the field. Yet another wreck that's up front, Dominic, but we don't see very many people get involved, as it looks like the 97 and 0 are coming together on pit road there.
Yeah, and come to think of it, that's kind of been a theme at the superspeedways this season, where we haven't seen big crashes in terms of the number of cars caught up in them. Oddly enough, I feel like intermediate races like Atlanta or last week at Kansas have probably seen bigger crashes in terms of car counts. So just something that I've noticed.
Absolutely. I would agree as so. Tough break for some of those guys. That was Nathan Stapleton up front, the 77 of Ethan Harrison, Ian McDaniel, Chris Lilly. All of those guys were running up front and got involved in that. But Discorius Greenhouse Jr. in the 53 is going to lead us back to the green here on lap 25 of 47, just past halfway. The 53 had a massive wreck last week at one of our faster tracks, but is now at a plate track. And he's leading here, no fear out of that 53 camp. He is out front, leading this field with Joe Kraus in tuck, Robbie Gordoff in third.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Talladega would want to be the track that you go to after a big wreck like he took last week, but he's doing it. He's a trooper.
Clearing the 5 of Brayson Collins, who is a lap down in that 5 car. It looks like they've got the field or their issue all sorted, so it's good to see from the small camp out of the 5. But that really hurts their points chances, as they were on the cusp of the top 10 in points. That's really going to hurt them, as it seems like not many people, no cars have exited the race here today so far, as we got 4 wide throughout the back of this field right now. Looks to be about 10th to 15th so far, as they're 4 wide. They sorted out, but no cars are out of the race as we speak, and only a few guys lapped down. So really needs a few more wrecks for Brayson Collins to be satisfied about his day today.
Yeah, and that's really a pretty miraculous effort from the guys on pit road to get all these cars repaired and have no one out of the race. That's pretty impressive. I wouldn't have expected that.
Absolutely. As don't look now, but it's the 33 Robbie Gordoff with a big run through the trioval. He is alongside the 53 Discorius Greenhouse Jr., trying to take that lead back once again. I mean, tell you what, this 33 car, he's got to be the one to beat if you're looking at anybody. But as we've seen so many times this year, the first half of the race, the second half of the race, 2 completely different stories.
Yeah, the dominant car definitely does not always win in LIMECAR. If anything, I'd say the dominant car winning is more of a rarity than a common occurrence. So I don't know if Robbie Gordoff is in the place that you want to be in or in the place that you least want to be in, but we'll see how this race progresses.
Looks like these guys are nearly losing the draft. They are not working together at all. The 54, 21, 23, none of them are the same manufacturer, and none of them seem like they want to work with each other. Clearly, Marnell's the faster car, but it seemed like they were gaining more headway with him pushing everybody. We'll keep an eye on that as they're falling way behind this major pack of about 29, 30 cars once again. 4 wide through it. It looks like not as uniform as before. Maybe some uniformity. We got some lines going.
Yeah, and Marnell must have just gotten caught behind those damaged cars there, because I find it hard to believe that he would have just lost the draft on pace alone after running up in the top 5 earlier, but that's definitely a situation to keep an eye on with his points position.
The 51 and 52 teammates, they're tucked up with each other. They're going to try to catch this front group. 53, the Squares Greenhouse Jr. tried to come down and join them. Looks like he's going to get not shucked out of the way, but I thought the 51 was going to try to catch up with him, but apparently not. They went 3 wide for a little bit, and now they go back to that line as Joe Kraus, new leader, the 3 car of Joe Kraus. Haven't talked about him much this season. Been a pretty, I wouldn't say a poor season, but just one that we really haven't heard much out of him except for when he gets involved in an incident. So good to see the 3 out front here at Talladega. Big wiggle out of 51 and 52. They scatter to try to not wreck.
Yeah, I was watching those teammates there. They look to be working their way forward together on the bottom lane, but they got separated right there, although the 52 still has another one of his teammates behind him. So good showing from the Stalking Motorsports right now at the front of the field.
Another teammate pairing right here with 17 tucked up on the back bumper of Henry Guo. 2 championship contenders and 2 teammates. Looked like Justin Haley was giving him a little bit of a right rear there. And to turn 3, they get it all sorted out. 47 is going to follow the 99 to that bottom lane. Maybe not. He's going to stick with his teammates. That's what this the veteran knowledge is able to give these guys, especially like the 17 and 47. Great super speedway drafting helped here today. As the 47 waited for the 17 to get clear, and then they both went down to that bottom lane. That's how you make winning moves, and that's how you work your way methodically through the field.
Definitely, yeah. And we're looking to see, looks like we're going to get 2 lanes here at the front of the field, which we haven't seen a ton of today. This is kind of looking like a Atlanta Superspeedway race, and now, just as I say that, Soa makes it 3 wide on the bottom. But it was kind of looking like Atlanta there for a second, where there's 2 main lanes.
With no help whatsoever, the 08 got a massive run and just takes the lead on his own. I'm not sure what's up with that 08 camp out of the Madrid Motorsports, but we saw it at Daytona, and we're seeing it here today. The 08 just gets a randomly good run. They must have cheated their car up or something, but the 08 was able to lead for 5 or 6 laps, virtually uncontested at Daytona. Didn't really show much at Armory Digital, but he's doing the same here now at Talladega.
And those teammates we were just talking about, Henry Guo and Logan Williams, have worked their way towards the top 5 now. Still, the 17's still following the 47 every lane change they make, and they're going to make a run at the lead here, potentially.
Justin Haley is tucked up behind the 08 now. The former engineer of Justin Haley is Nicholas Soa on the Sapphire 77 car. As it appears Marnell has found some competent drivers to draft with, leading the head group of the 6, the 40, the 97, and 84. I would say if you're Marnell and you see Ian McDaniel, or McDaniel as he will say, that's someone he's going to work with 10 times out of 10, especially given how far back he is in that pack.
Yeah, your friends are where you find him here, and he definitely needs a few to catch back up to this pack.
Especially with no Chevys around him to boot. All the Chevys are up front as we speak. A great showing out of Chevrolet. 20 cars in the field, and I would like to say all 20 of them are in this front little pack here. Save for a few of them. I don't see. I don't see the Team Chevrolet development. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we still got this lap car of Grayson Collins up here mixing it up, so something to keep an eye on. Could have an impact on this finish if he stays up here.
But so far, he's helping out Guo and Barone on that top lane. I would say not exactly helping out as Guo decides to ditch him for the better to get behind his teammate, Logan Williams, in the 17. So once again, teammate help there. And here comes Jerry Chen in the 37. They're going to be in that middle lane. If things work out, they're going to be tucked up 1, 2, 3 in that middle lane. But Chen follows the run, and he's going to tuck behind the 04 of Matthew Fastnot. They're going to push past this 08 of Nicholas Soa for a lead change here on lap 34 or 47. Coming to 15, just under 15 laps to go. We haven't had a yellow in a little bit. We're all good to go to the end on fuel. It's going to get intense here in a few laps.
Yeah, and that was another big 3-wide move to the inside by Robbie Gordoff. He's done that once or twice before that I've noticed. Definitely a very strong car, and we're getting down to the closing stages of this race here.
Absolutely. I think what's going to come down to it is Gordoff, when challenged, as he's got Chen with a big run on the outside. Gordoff, when challenged, just hasn't been able to defend that well. He's got really good offense, but his defense just has been kind of lackluster. It's going to be quite something to see if this 33 is able to defend later on in the race. Is Reed Simpson in the 4 car, another driver who's in need of a good run. He's being pushed out front, and Quentin Haley has a fair bit of nose damage, I would say, or at least the hood is crumpled up a bit. He's leading that inside line, or was leading the inside line, and you can see that aero effect really affecting him. They're going real slow in that middle lane now, as Joe Kraus was able to easily get around them with help from the bottom lane.
Yeah, and it was very short-lived, but it was nice to see Reed Simpson lead a lap there. I haven't seen much of him this year. It's been a very miserable season for that 4 team, but good to see him up here for a little bit.
Absolutely, and that is a lap led in the books for the Reed Simpson camp. Here comes the 51 of Michael Guthrie, one of our championship contenders, or championship hopefuls, I would say. The 51, 2 wins on the season, a win at or what should have been a win at Armory Digital. I would say it wasn't a win. He was leading at the stripe at the checkered flag when the checkered flag would have waved if we went the distance, but we had a green-white checkered. The 51 lost it. I would say he was really, really close to getting that win even on the green-white checkered. But that 51 has just been strong all around. Had a win at a short track, had a win at a road course, and almost had a win at a super speedway back to back to back. So very strong middle part of the season showing for Guthrie as the 53 takes the lead. And we see what was for a little bit of DAF Racing lineup with a former DAF Racing driver, Alexander Rowe, is going to push Logan Williams down. That's trouble. Oh, hard into the outside. Inside wall goes to 0. And this is going to be trouble.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say the 0 almost caught Logan there, but then Logan came back up and did it himself. So not a good situation there.
That's the 37, the 10. Looks like we have a bunch of our middle, a lot of these guys taken out, and that's going to be our big one of the day, I would say.
Very similar to the crash at Armory Digital with Robbie Gordoff, and I want to say it was Matthew Fastnot, where both of them kind of ended up on, they both came back up into traffic. Kind of similar to that, where the 17 just kind of pinned it and came back up.
Absolutely, and the 0 did as well. That's not to discredit Alexander Rowe. 2 former teammates are the Season 2 champion in Alexander Rowe and what was the current points leader, Logan Williams, in the 17. Very interesting sort of wreck, especially between 2 guys that have been friendly with each other in the past, been great friends. We'll take a look at this replay to see what sort of happened here.
Yeah, and as usual with these replays, I'd like to see it start a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if Logan was trying to fit into a hole that wasn't there, or if the 0 was just coming down on him and squeezing him for no reason. But either way, they kind of meet there and then force each other onto the apron and then come back up and get everyone else.
as the 33 barely gets tagged by the 37 and takes out the second portion of that wreck. That's 3 out of 4 DAF racing cars that got involved in this wreck, so to say. And, just hard impact for Richard Fridge, our Armory Digital winner. Just slowly taps up into that wall. Wasn't expecting to get hit whatsoever.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for the 33 and the 37 especially. I feel like we're probably the 2 strongest cars in this field in terms of pure performance. Obviously, super speedways don't come down to pure performance very often, and stuff like this is why, but those were probably the 2 cars to beat today.
I would say here, as much as anywhere, we've seen pure performance sort of be the defining factor. But we'll be restarting with 5 laps to go. Dominic, you've raced here at Talladega before. You raced here in Season 2. You got a top 10. With 5 laps to go, a restart here, what's going through your head? What are you doing here as we've got Guthrie and Barone and Giffen, your top 3?
Well, I'd say at this point, as we get towards later in the race, you're kind of having a mental battle between survival and trying to push your way forwards, because you want to get the track position with there only being 5 laps to go, but at the same time, you got to keep your nose clean. It wouldn't surprise me to see another crash, and you got to be around for the finish, no matter where you are on track.
And don't forget, we do have only one, but we do have a green-white checkered, so if there is a yellow from here on, we will re-rack the field and get back going. But as of now, Ryan Barone, also the guy that got involved in that big accident, I would say last week, he's back up front here, that 46 car, but he's going to fade back to the rear. His good friend and team owner, Quentin Haley, kind of shucks him there. As I am taking a close eye on that 47 of Henry Guo. He's made his way through that field quite a bit, and we see Logan Williams. He's up in this top 10. Christopher Murnell as well. We've got sort of a lineup going as 4 wide out front. What appears is Quentin Haley is way to the outside. The 52 of Cam Wright Jr., he's going to stack up to the bumper of his teammate. And don't look now, that's the green and white Chevy of Henry Guo. He's made his way to the top 5 with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where the 83 of Santiago Nicolas is right now, but this is at least 4 of that top 5 that we talked about in pre-race up here in the top 10 late. So could see some major championship implications right here in these next 3.5 laps.
Absolutely. As Cam Wright Jr. attains the lead, gives it up to Henry Guo. 3 laps to go. Kyle Mabey, we haven't seen a solid run out of him, I would say, or at least up front in this top 5 since the Coke 600, the 32 car, looking and primed to make a statement here at Talladega. Especially would be huge momentum heading into next season. We have 2 sort of packs separated. I'm not sure where Santiago Nicolas is. I think he's lost the draft. The 77 of Ethan Harrison, he's got rear end damage. Doesn't seem to be affecting him as he's in the middle of that group. But it's all Henry Guo out front coming to 2 laps to go. 6 miles to go for these competitors.
Yeah, and Henry is a very strong plate racer. We saw it earlier this season at Daytona in the 500. We've seen it at previous plate races, both here and at Daytona. So I'd say he's one of the best at this style of racing. So we'll see how this plays out.
Ryan Barone is right tucked up with the 46. It's 47 and 46 out front. Ethan Harrison's damage is starting to show when he is facing that clean air. Kaz Brala abandons him as we take a look at this second sort of pack, so to say. There's the 53. We saw him out front. Yeah, I don't see where Santiago Nicolas is. I think he's way back in the pack. Something must have happened where he got caught up behind some lapped cars or damaged cars.
Big move here from Michael Guthrie. Because as I see it, he's a stronger car than the 46, so he might be making a run at this lead here.
And the 47, I would say, is sitting duck. He doesn't have the help. We're single file for that front 4. White flag, 1 lap to go, coming to the back straightaway here at Talladega.
And they'll have to fan out towards the top and then come to the bottom in the corners, so this could be the move for the win here with Michael Guthrie.
Guthrie takes a move to the bottom. He's got no help. The Chevys go to the top lane. That's Barone and Haley to the top lane. The 62 is coming oh so closely. It's going to be 2 lines to the finish. The 52 abandons the 62. That's going to affect Guthrie. Here comes Guo to the line. We're going to have a photo finish at Dega. Who's it going to be? I think that was Guo at the line.
I was going to say, I think that's Henry. I think that's DAF Racing put a lot of effort into this type of racing, so I would be very happy to see that if that's the case.
The photo finish, we're going to take a look at the picture. That's Guo. That's Guo by a few feet. Extremely close victory. Wow, what a finish there. Henry Guo gets his first win since Season 1 at a super speedway nonetheless, with DAF Racing team owner Dominic Anthony in the booth. What a finish for that 47 group. What a race. Leading the last 4 laps for that 47 group. They're able to take home this win. Just like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the fall last season, the Palm Olive Chevrolet is going to take home the victory.
Yeah, I was going to say, just like in real life, the Palm Olive 47 car photo finish on the outside lane. It's funny how that stuff works out. But yeah, two guys who are right at the top of the point standings, separated by inches at the finish there. So if that doesn't set the tone for these last 2 races, then I don't know what will.
Separated by 10. That's the difference between 10 points right there, between 60 and 50 points. Looks like Guo forgot how to do a burnout there for a second. It was taking him a second to get his wheels spinning.
It has been a while.
But Guo, Guthrie, Cam Wright, Aaron Giffen, Ryan Barone, your top 5. Marnell had slipped back to 20th. Very interesting to make note of. He was mixing it up with that front group with Logan Williams in 11th there, so he must have fallen out of the draft or something must have happened with that 23 car. Take a look through the rest of these running orders. Santiago Nicholas, 34th. Must have just been stuck behind some of those guys with damage. That 83 car was fast and is always fast at these super speedways. So that's going to put a damper on his championship hopes here. As Blake Walker, we forgot to mention it, exited the race under that last caution period with an engine going out. He said the temps were overheating and they wanted to save the motor, so that 88 camp. Another poor result for him. Guo's burning it down on pit road now. Looks like he's going to take it to victory lane. Great win for this 47 camp, and Dominic, I'm sure you're happy to see these guys all celebrating and having you up in the booth. I'm sure you'll run down to victory lane here in a second, but I'm sure this is happy for you as well. Guo moving up to second in points, and we see that cut line coming ever so close to this front group.
Yeah, so we talked about having, potentially 6 guys in the title fight. Now we have a clearly defined 8 people that have a mathematical shot at this title. And once again, when you look at it realistically, it's probably the top 4 at this point. Santiago Nicholas kind of fell off the back of these guys. So obviously 5th through 8th still mathematically involved, but you're really looking at that top 4 for this title fight.
You'll need something catastrophic from these top 4 for a Santiago Nicholas, a Robbie Gordoff to be able to really make their way through. And if Gordoff didn't get involved in that final wreck, I think that 33 would be probably mixing it up with some of those guys. He would need a lot of luck. He would need a win. That 33 car hasn't seen victory lane this season, but I think those 4 have been probably the best 4 drivers all season, and it's been nice to see how the culmination of this season has been, and with Santiago Nicholas as well. The last 2 seasons, we've seen the Daytona 500 winner not really have that much of an impact on the rest of the season, so to say. But he's been up front and in this top 5 in points for the entire season and has been a quiet contender, especially the past few races. But he'll need a lot of luck going into Texas and Homestead.
Yeah, not to say it's impossible. He's definitely done a good job, especially for it being his rookie season. So a lot to be proud of there, but I wouldn't say it's likely. Anything can happen, though.
Absolutely. Well, it was a great race. If you told me 2 races ago that Kansas would be the more destructive race than Talladega, I would have said that you were crazy. But definitely a wreck-filled but not destructive race here at Talladega, and just another one of those classic finishes at a plate track. Great to see these guys all racing to the end. All but one car made it to the start-finish line. That's pretty good to see. Any final notes before we go off the air here, Dominic?
Not much. Just great to see another great finish. Probably the new closest finish in LimeCar history, I'd have to imagine. I said that after Armory Digital, and this was definitely closer than that. So I'd imagine it's probably the closest finish ever. And like you said, only one car not finishing the race. That's got to be close to a record too. And at Talladega, of all places, is pretty crazy. So very entertaining race, and the next 2 should be just as good to decide this title.
Absolutely. Well, from all of us here in the booth, we thank you for watching. Yeah, it's going to be a great final 2 races to end out the season from all of us here. Hope you guys tune in next week at Texas. It's going to be fun. I like Texas. Hooray.